Let's go ahead and get started. We have several people here. We still have a few probably going to join us as we go, but it's about 3 or 4 minutes after 5 here, so we'll get started and they can join us. And we are recording the sessions, so anything they miss, we can go back and cover. So my name is Ian Ellis. Those of you who haven't been on a webinar before, those of you who have will recognize my voice. I am the one lucky enough to do all of these. So I'm grateful to be here with you. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your evenings. I know that you all have other things to be doing as well. So we'll try and make this valuable and informative and hopefully fairly quick so that you don't have to be stuck with us too long, but get to see some exciting information. So I am with Wealth Management Strategies. We are the partner of ACG. Our job is to manage the benefits program for the ACG, the member benefits program. And so this is one of several webinars in the series to go over each of the benefits in some more detail. At the end, afterwards, you'll be emailed a link to see the recorded version of this webinar, as well as the link goes to the same page that shows recorded versions of our previous webinars. So let's get started. Get on the right screen here, bear with me. There we go. So this is, quickly I want to start with a brief video. This is just a minute or a minute and a half long that recently came out to outline kind of the overview of the ACG benefits program. Just one moment here, see if we can get it going. Maybe. Or we'll look at a black screen. Play, please. Always happens when you're recording the webinar. Okay, let's try this. I have pulled up the website. Can everyone see that? We've got a Q&A. There should be a Q&A box, a little button in your upper left of your screen somewhere. If you can click on that and just send me a quick note. I want to make sure that you can see my screen. I want to try and see if we can get this video working. So I'm going to push play, and if anyone can't see the video, please let me know. The American College of Gastroenterology is the preferred resource for clinical research, education, and practice management. With over 14,000 members worldwide, ACG strives to help you grow your practice, expand your expertise, and enrich your life. We are pleased to introduce new benefits designed exclusively for ACG members in the areas of personal planning and practice management. So what does this really mean for you and your practice? Okay, I'm pausing because I already got a note saying they cannot hear it. Is there anyone that can hear the video? Got a couple people saying they cannot hear. So I apologize for that. Not sure what happened to our other version of the video. Too bad, it's good. Okay, well, you'll see. I'll make sure to include a link to the video. We're going to cover everything that's in it as well today, but we'll include a link in the follow-up email so you can see the video. But it's going to go over briefly what the ACG is doing with the benefits program and why they're doing it. And the bottom line is, as we all know, the ACG is a leader in research and education, and this is the next step that the ACG wants to do for its members. And the intent here is to create additional benefit for being a member of the ACG, things that you can't get outside of the ACG. So let me go into that a little bit. We've been working, get on the right screen here. Oh, now of course it's working. Okay, let's give it one more try here, and then I promise if it doesn't work, I'll move on. The American College of Gastroenterology is the preferred limit disability insurance with increased limits, the physician-life income plan, the personalized retirement accumulation, the 401k company retirement platform with optimized prices, employee benefits, preferred rate, professional planning for your personal life and your practice, and an online tool to help you manage it all. As an ACG member, you have immediate access to this comprehensive benefits package. Contact Wealth Management Strategies today to learn how you can take full advantage of these exciting new benefits for your practice and your. Okay, hopefully everybody was able to hear that. I apologize for any technical difficulties we're having there, but that's a new video. It's kind of cool. And just a little bit of a note there on why the ACG is doing this. So let's talk about the benefit package, the current offerings. So I've got listed here the offerings that are currently available. We're always working to try and develop more of these, but we started on this program almost 3 years ago now with Dr. Hanauer at the time, and then Dr. Sarles as well, have helped us develop this, and with the executive management team at the ACG to design this program to give access to things that you can't have otherwise. And what we've done is we spent some time with the executive team. We spent some time with a select task force of members around the country to help us design some of this. And then we've gone out to carriers and investment providers and other resources to request some sort of offering for the ACG. And went back and forth, negotiated with them, and then back and forth with the ACG until we eventually kind of came to the program we're at today. So this is where we're at right now. We're continuing to try and add new benefits all the time, so things will get rolled out as they come. Right now, these are the things we have available. The very first one you see on the bullet points here is what we're going to talk about today. That's the personal financial portal. It was also referred to in the video as an online management tool. We'll talk more about that in a second. We have high limit disability insurance. That's what it sounds like. Disability insurance with much higher limits than traditional insurance makes available. Something you can add on top of existing insurance if you already have some disability. There's a whole webinar about that you can view. It's recorded. We have the Physician's Life Income Plan. This is that additional tax-deferred, tax-advantaged way to put aside money and invest money when you can't use the traditional methods, or maybe the traditional methods of 401k or 403b. The limits are too low for your needs. This gives you another way to start saving in tax-deferred ways. Company retirement platform, that's exactly what it sounds like. If you have a practice or a surgery center or a endoscopy center or something like that, this allows you to offer a 401k retirement plan for your company and all your employees with some really incredible pricing and benefits there. The group employee benefits, similar type of thing. If you offer dental, vision, group life, group disability to your employees or your practice as a whole, this is another way to get some amazing rates that aren't available to the general market. And then personal and business planning. So we as Wealth Management Strategies, we are a full service financial planner working with physicians and business owners on all aspects of the planning, both personal and estate planning, retirement planning, as well as on business planning, succession, how do we transition the business, how do we, make the best tax efficiencies for ourselves, those types of things. So we are making ourselves available, obviously, to do that for any ACG member. Basic planning, real basic stuff is free of charge because of you're an ACG member. And if the planning gets more expensive, then it's reduced cost, but there could be some cost there depending on the deliverables and how in-depth the planning would need to be. So that's a brief overview of currently what's offered. We're also working very hard right now. Hopefully the next thing to be launched will be kind of an HR benefits package to kind of offload a lot of the HR responsibilities and liability and overhead, as well as offer better health insurance options for you and for your practice. Okay, so let's dive into Personal Financial Portal, or the online management tool. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go into what is the Personal Financial Portal, and again, real quickly, if you have any questions along the way, please stop me. You can't stop me because I'm in control. I'm the one running things. But you can shoot a little quick Q&A. That button, I think it's in the upper left. Click that button, ask a question. It'll pop up on my screen. If I see it, I'll try and stop where I'm at and answer those questions. We will, of course, have time for questions at the end as well. So today's agenda, we're going to start with what is the Personal Financial Portal. We're going to go over a brief video. After that, we're going to do a little system walkthrough. I'm going to take you live onto the system. We're going to walk through a little bit. And we're going to show you kind of how it works, After that, just do a quick note on how to get started if you wanted to get signed up for the financial portal. And then the final thing here, we'll go through some Q&A. Oh, there's a missing item. I'm going to have a quick note on security because everyone asked that question. Okay, and so you know what this tool is, this is an online tool to allow you to manage things. We're going to show it in a bit. We use it for planning purposes with all of our existing clients. Usually there's a charge for that. And so what we're doing for the ACGs, we're making this available to ACG members for your use, free of charge. So we'll talk about more about that at the end. But let's dive into what it is. And this is, again, best done with a video, assuming the video works, which it wasn't doing earlier for us. But let's try this, and hopefully it'll kind of explain what this video or what this tool is and why we use it. This just takes us straight out to web browser, which is where we were having the problem last time. So I'm a little concerned, but let's see what happens. Okay, so I heard from one of our listeners they couldn't hear the video. If anybody could hear the video, please shoot me a note. I want to know, and I apologize to you if you couldn't hear it. Again, I'll try and include links to all of this in the follow-up email. I'm not sure why we're having trouble with the video audio today. Hopefully most of you heard it. I've got another one saying no audio. Okay, so you guys were just watching, could not hear anything. Excellent. Well, looks like nobody could hear it, and I apologize about that, everyone. Thank you for letting me know. I'll try and include a link, but let me explain briefly what the video talks about. Again, follow-up email will have a link to show you this. But bottom line is, as we grow and as we become more successful, we accumulate more and more things, right? And we accumulate accounts in different places and insurance contracts in different places and advisors in different places and agreements and contracts, et cetera, et cetera. And it gets confusing to be able to track it all and have logins for all of it. All that stuff gets very cumbersome to manage, especially since you're probably very busy managing your actual business. And the concept here is that this is a tool to bring everything together in one place. So you can see it all in one place. Now we'll walk through it in a minute. You'll be obviously you can hear me, so I'll talk through the system. You'll get an idea of how it works. But that's really what it is. It helps you track all your investments, helps to track all your insurance contracts, and really anything else you want to aggregate into this portal to allow you to view it. So that's what this is. That's what the video talked about. I'm so sorry it didn't work. We'll try and get that figured out for next time. So let's move on. We're going to do a quick system walkthrough here. I'm going to try and pull it up. Let's see here. Bear with me while I pull up the right screen. so you can all see that. So this is the screen you'll get when you first come to log in. You'll enter in your user ID and your password, and now the first time you do this, this will be a little bit different. But once you've created your account and you've populated it, you'll come in here, just click in your password real quick, and this is where it'll take you. Okay, so we're on the home screen now. Can everyone see this? By the way, just want to make sure that everyone can see this screen, since I've been having difficulties with the other things. So if you can see this, okay, good. I got a couple of yeses. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is your home screen. This is a snapshot of everything you've got inside the account, and you got a list of your different types of accounts here. I'll walk through what those are and how we input them in a minute. You've got kind of a net worth statement here. You got a list of your specific investments here. These would be things, obviously, that may be different than your net worth, because net worth could include some other things like primary residences or businesses and things like that. You've got a spending section here. You can create a budget. You can create, or you can, it'll download all your transactions if you link your bank accounts into this. Yes, that's 13.8 million. Someone's saying that they're happy that if you sign up for the website, that it becomes your net worth. This is obviously a sample client here. So this spending section will show you all your transactions and where you're at in your budget, things like that. And this little protection summary down here says insurance contracts you may have. So this is just the overview, and let's walk through some of the detail. The first thing you're probably going to do when you get in here is you're going to go into your organizer, okay? And the organizer section is where you start adding in all the data that allows the system to show you the numbers we saw a second ago on the home screen, right? So it's got your basic data, potentially your spouse's data. These are, could be children, this could be other people you add. Now, once you're in the system, there will be buttons to add. So you want to add people, right? Or if you want to edit your information here. This doesn't exist on this site because it's a sample client, so it doesn't allow us to add and tweak some of the details like that. But that would all be available here. It'll list some of your property, your home, your vacation property, whatever else you list in here, okay, in different places. So we go into the accounts section here of the organizer, and here's the different insurance policies. And again, there'd be a button right here to add policy. If you had an insurance policy you wanted to list. By the way, this person has $38 million net worth. They should probably have more than $250,000 insurance. Other accounts, going to be all the other types of accounts. You've got a checking account here, your 401k account here. Maybe you've got some individual stock holdings. You've got a mortgage you can link in here, so your mortgage is regularly tracked. Your IRAs in here, some 529 plans for the kids' college savings, all those types of things. Any account really you want, you can add in here. And the way this gets added in is the back-end company that provides this. This is a company called eMoney, and they have direct link relationships with tens of thousands of financial institutions across the country. So it does not go out and scrape screenshots or anything like that. It's all a direct agreement with financial institutions. So if you bank with Wells Fargo has an agreement with them. So you'll go in through this website, you'll click add an account. There would be a button right here. Can everyone see let me see here if I make this a little bit easier to follow. There we go. Where's my spotlight? There we go. Okay, my little red dot here. So there should be a button up here that says add account over the account section, or add policy over the insurance policy section. But what they're doing is there's a direct connection with the bank. So you would click add account. It would ask you, tell us which bank, and you start typing it in, and a list pops up. You select the right bank or investment account or whatever other type of account you're adding in here. Anything that you can log into online, most likely it's available through the system. You'll select that account or institution, and then you'll give your login credentials. Now people sometimes are nervous about that. A couple important points. They do not save your login credentials. What happens is those login credentials are passed through to the institution to verify that you do have access to this information. The institution then makes the connection to this site, to the portal, and constantly uploads that data on a daily basis. Most institutions are daily. So, and then login credentials are immediately deleted out of the system. So the system doesn't have login credentials, even if somebody hacked into their system, which doesn't, I don't believe has ever happened. There is no login credentials available for them to see. They can't get it. So then it starts feeding your data every day into the system, and that's how they're able to show you all your information. Okay, so you can see all your accounts here. You can see all your insurance policies here. Go back to the organizer real quick, and then we'll show you where this stuff shows up later. This is just how to organize it when you're setting yourself up. Professional contacts, you want to go in here, you want to add your CPA, something like that. You can actually also give CPAs limited access into here if you wanted them to see it. Right now, what you're going to see is you're going to see our firm here, Wealth Management Strategies. Brentwood Koch is our principal, so you'll always see Brentwood Koch's name on there. He's the principal of our firm. And then if you wanted to add other advisors that you work with, you can add them in here. You can give some people access in here, stuff like that. Another thing we can do, go back to the organizer. This is where you can start setting up budgets. Again, it won't work here because we're on a sample client, but there's some sample numbers in here, but you would normally be able to edit them. You can say what your income is. You can add different types of income. There can be salary. There can be K1 income from LLCs or other partnerships you might have. There can be bonuses here, commission, however you want to structure it. You can enter that number in here. You can list your expected expenses here. You can be as detailed as you want. If you create a budget in the budget section, this will auto-populate with your budget items. And then again, you can set up how much you're going to save in the different accounts. An example here, they're putting $16,250 into their 401k, $5,000 a year into Jessica's 529 plan. Okay. And go back to the organizer here. Future goals. So we're going to walk through that in a minute more when I go into the workshop. Financial priorities, same type of thing. Risk tolerance. So this is something that you can use when you're trying to understand your investment and how you should allocate your investment. I'm not going to walk through all these questions, but there are a number of questions here to help you get a feel for how well you tolerate different types of risks and activities in an investment account. And that can kind of guide you a little bit when you're trying to decide how to invest your money. Now, hopefully you've got an advisor that's working with you on that. You've already done risk tolerance questionnaires with them. But if you haven't, or you just wanted to do another one and kind of see how your funds are allocated relative to your risk tolerance, this is a tool for you here. Okay, so that's the organizer and the different sections you can go through. Let's get into some. This is one of my favorite part is the workshop. In fact, I'm going to leave that for 1 second. I'm going to come to that at the end. Spending. That's the budget stuff we talked about. You won't be able to see it on the site because it's a sample client, but this is where you can set up a budget. If you've ever used things like Quicken or Mint or all those other websites that are out there, same type of thing. This is a very robust tool. You can set up as many different line items for your budget, personal budget as you want. And then as transactions come in from your bank, if you've chosen to link your bank accounts, those transactions, they'll try and categorize it. And if you see that they've categorized it incorrectly, you just change the category, and then the system will remember that next time. So over time, after you do this for a few months, all of a sudden the system will start categorizing all of your transactions correctly, and it's got a pretty good view at any given moment how you're doing tracking with your budget on a monthly basis or however you set it up. Okay, so now let's look at investments. This is a part everybody likes a lot. This is a section that would track your investment accounts and all your different accounts, okay? And you can choose which type of accounts. You see this little drop down here for which account you want to look at, or if you want to look at all accounts to get all investment accounts together. So this is showing all the investment accounts. Obviously, John and Jane client here are doing quite well. But you can add as many accounts in here as you want, and it'll show each account. It'll show the position, the date that they received the most recent data, what the holdings position, how the value is, current value, and if it's up or down, plus or minus, and the percentage you're up or down. All right, and then as you can see here, the balance history will track that over time. And there's some zeros in here, and that hopefully doesn't ever happen to anybody. I'm not sure what that's about. And the sample client's got some funky things like that. But then also when you're in here, like I said, you can select particular accounts, just look at one account. If you wanted to actually click on all investments, let's say you wanted to click into your Charles Schwab IRA, you want to look into more detail, click on that account name. Here's all the holdings in that IRA. Again, quantity, price, value, up and down. You can dive as deep as you want into your investments. You can even click on this specific holding. You're going to get a little pop-up here with an investment research report. Oh, this one's blank. Where is it at? There we go. So on that particular holding, here's a Morningstar report on that holding. Okay. So as anal and detailed as you want to get, it's available to you here. That's the investment section. This is a summary. You can also go to your allocations, look at how you're allocated across all your accounts or just one account. Right now, we're just looking at the IRA at Charles Schwab. So here's that investment allocation across the different types of investment classes. But it's also nice to always look at all of your investments together, because sometimes if you've got advisors helping you, or you're doing one account, then you allocate another account, you may not realize you're duplicating certain allocations. This will help you give an overview of everything you've got invested and where you're allocated. And if you want to look at just one section, say you want to look at emerging markets, what do I have in emerging markets? Here it is. Here's all the holdings you have that are considered all the holdings in emerging markets. Here's the accounts that they show up in. Okay. And then you got the analysis tab. This again will show you. This is another one of those funky things where there's a big missing section of the graph. But normally this graph wouldn't have a big missing section. It look more like this. All the different holdings, up and down over different periods, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, over the lifetime of the account. And you can select which accounts you want to compare. Let's say, hey, I've got my advisor at Charles Schwab right here on my IRA, and I've got my other advisor doing my managed account. Let's compare them and see who's doing better, right? You can kind of look at that. So that's neat. Another nice section. And then this will be blank in the sample client, but there's a transaction section. So buying and selling of any of your investment accounts, if you're moving positions or your advisors are buying and selling things, that'll all show up in here. Okay, and you can create reports, you can export things. It's a pretty valuable tool for trying to monitor and manage your investments. And again, we found for a lot of clients that own businesses, especially our physician clients, very busy. Right? You're busy running a practice, possibly running a practice and an endoscopy center. Maybe you've got an anesthesia practice as well. You own some real estate. There's a lot going on. So be able to track all of these things is difficult, especially when you've got a couple college savings accounts, an IRA, a 401k, and a personal investment account. All of a sudden, you got 5 different accounts. You're trying to track everybody's performance, see where your holdings are. It just gets complicated, and they're usually not all in the same place. So this is a tool to hopefully make that a little easier for you. Okay, that's the investment section. Now I want to talk about, well, let's talk about the reports real quick. I'll go back to the vault in the workshop. This is a quick snapshot. So you can grab different reports based on the data you have in here. Now, I'll warn you, these reports are only as good as the data you have plugged into the system. Okay, so if you're missing something and you don't have it in there, it's not going to show up. But you can pull a balance sheet. So if you need to go get a loan, sometimes you're getting an equipment loan for your practice, or you're going to get a new loan for your building. Banks want to see things like balance sheets, financial statements. You can pull some of that stuff right out of here. If you've got everything plugged in, it'll have up-to-date values. You don't have to go collect them all from all your different statements and sources. These will be updated daily as long as your account link is still active and working properly. Okay, you can pull balance sheet. You can pull a list of assets. This is an asset projection based on the input data you put in there, and then growth. You can look at your asset allocation reports, just like we were looking at a minute ago. Some more detail. So there's a lot of reports in here you can pull. Again, this stuff's only as good as the information you put in, but it can be pretty valuable. Okay? Now let's go back to Vault. The Vault is a really neat feature. It's empty right now because it's a sample client, but the Vault, for me, is one of the greatest features that takes it beyond some of those other aggregators or budgeting tools you can find online. This allows you to create folders and store important documents, any kind of important document, right? You could do, we got plenty of clients that are doing copies of their passports in here, copies of their driver's license in here, copies of birth certificates in here, marriage licenses and certificates. Wills and trusts are actually one of the most common things we have people putting in here. So when you do your estate planning and you create your living trust and you create your will and your child care directive, your medical directive, you can put it all in here because you probably will lose it 10 years from now, right? Or it'll be misplaced during a move, or it's in a box somewhere, but I can't remember where. This is one place where you can have everything. And you can tell your CPA, and you can tell your attorney, you can tell your financial advisor, this is where all of my stuff is. And you can tell your spouse, right? So if something happens to one of you, you know where to go to get everything. You literally can put anything in here. You can put any document you want. Tax returns can go in here. And again, because of the security, which we'll talk about in a second, this stuff is all really secure. Now they are PDFs or whatever other type of format you're putting up here. So they're not, this section doesn't interact with the system and the numbers reporting and the financial projections, but it's a place to securely store all the things that you consider important. Okay, so the vault is really cool. Normally you'd be able to create a folder, create and upload a file, but again, you can't do that right now because we're on a sample client here. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the last section. Oh, well, this is a little thing. This is an alert section. There's going to be nothing there if you don't have any alerts. But if you had set up some different types of alerts, you would be able to see them here. If you have an account link that gets broken, and this happens sometimes, let's say Wells Fargo changes their website or they change their login protocol. That could break the connection between your account and Wells Fargo, so you need to go back in here and re-enter your login credentials and follow whatever steps Wells Fargo requires to make sure that those accounts stay actively connected. So that would show up here in the alerts as well. Let me go into settings real quick where you can set up some of those alerts. So here are the different types of alerts, right? You can say email things. You can either say email me or don't email me if I get an alert. Homepage notifications, these can show up on the homepage or not, it's up to you. And then all kinds of different things you can set up alerts for, right? Investment activity, when specific types of investment transactions occur, let me know. Or if a certain position is too concentrated, you can set up reminders for end of year planning, for insurance planning, Social Security benefits. You can create tasks for yourself. You can also set up settings where, hey, if my, if the account balance goes up or down by more than 20% in one day, let me know. That would be something you might want to know about. Those types of alerts you can set up in here, and they'll show up in this section. They can show up in emails or on the homepage if you want, or you can turn off the email so they don't show up in the email. Okay, so that's a number of nice settings you can set up here. There's also some privacy settings. This is primarily around your spending. So if you set up spending and budgets, you have the option to allow this to be seen by anybody you set up as an additional user. Now I've got 2 users set up on this account. The advisor, that's us, will always be set up as a user. By default, we will not be able to see anything you put into your budget and spending information. We can't see your data, okay? If you are working with us and we're doing planning with you and you want to allow us to see data, then you can option limited or full view into that data. Same thing for anyone else you set up. You create a user account in here for your CPA or for another advisor. That's I did this ACG client as an additional website user just as an example. You can create an additional user for them, and then you can give them whatever access level you want for them to be able to see. Okay? Some basic security settings here is where you can go in here, you can reset your password. You can turn on or off two-factor authentication, security questions, stuff like that. Okay, so let's go into the last section I skipped over was workshop. This is a good one. And this is, I've been talking for a while, so please stop me if you got any questions. So this is a really neat section. If you want to do 2 things, there's some educational stuff in here, and there's some tools, some good planning tools in here. So this is where you go when you want to make some decisions. Right? The other things are there to help you see things. They make things visible in a simple format and kind of aggregate it all together. This last section, the workshop, helps you start making some decisions. Okay. So let me walk through it. There's a brief video here. I'm not even going to try to play that video. We've gone down that road twice now. But this is a little 1-minute overview of how the workshop works. Watch it on your own time, because clearly we can't figure that out on the webinar. The other thing we've got here, oops, I lost my pointer. See, I make fun of one thing and then everything stops working. Okay. This is a little, some topics. If you want to watch some educational videos or read some articles, there's different sections here that you can get those. So we click, I want to see more about saving for college. Pop up in a little window, right? Here's some different things you can learn about saving for college. A bunch of articles and videos you can watch. I only want to watch videos. There's a couple of videos. There's a bunch of articles to read. Okay, so these are some great resources here. Close that out. And they have the same thing for, what's my, what kind of legacy am I leaving? How much insurance do I need? What do I need to know about investing, personal finance? That's going to be things like budgeting, retirement planning. Those types of resources are here. Then these sections here are going to be some tools that you can use to start making some decisions. So are you saving enough for college? Is your family protected? That's going to be insurance, obviously, right? We're talking life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, those types of things. Are you saving enough for retirement? That's the question everyone wants to know. So you go into these sections, excuse me, and we'll show you. Let me show you an example. Let's click in, are we saving enough for retirement as an example here. I'm going to load the tool, which is of course not working right. So now all of this data you see in here is based on information we've already got inputted. We know what the account values are, we know what the retirement accounts are, you've already entered living expenses. So if you've done all that before, then this will pre-populate. If you haven't, it'll ask you some more questions before you get to this section. And this is your tool that'll show funding. Now this graph isn't working. This graph, of course, this graph should have a little blue bar. It goes all the way up to this point, right? Because this is showing you how much of your potential retirement is funded. Now we're assuming your yearly retirement expenses are $172,000, okay? That's your yearly expenses today are $210,500. Your expenses in retirement are estimated at $172,000. That's based on some percentage of today's earnings, right? And then it inflates it, of course, to account for the future retirement dates. If you want to go in and get an estimate, click Help Me Estimate, and you can kind of start playing with it. 80% of the 210 is $168,400. Now this sample client, I believe, is 60 years old, so there's not a lot of inflation between now and then. So $168,400 becomes $172 with inflation. But you can use the slider bar and you can start changing. You know, say I want all my retirement. I need 100%. I need the full 210,500 in retirement. Let's use that. Okay, this just automatically changed from 18 years to 14 years. Now the graph would normally move for you, but of course it's not working. Your retirement, this shows you your retirement income and shows you that you're falling short, right? So let's go back. What are other things we can do? So here down, these are the other things we play with. What's our inflation? What's our growth rates of our money? What's our monthly contributions currently that we're going to be putting into retirement accounts? Your existing savings that you're working with. So if you look at all these different accounts, you can start to play with things that will affect your retirement funding. Here's possible options for achieving your goal, right? Increase the investment account contribution to $45,000 a month, reduce retirement expenses to $123 a year, delay John's retirement to age 78. We're currently set up at age 65. This will give you ideas, right? Now, one of the things that's not happening here, if you look at existing savings, here's the accounts that it's currently using to consider retirement. It's looking at a variable annuity, because that's going to give you retirement income. It's going to get looking at your Roth IRA, your Charles Schwab IRA, and your 401k, because those are all known retirement accounts. So that's all it's using to assume you're funding for retirement. It's assuming you're using all these other assets for something else. Well, we know that John and Jane here were doing quite well, and they have a large managed account of, where to go, $7 million. So I click that, let's say, we can use that too. Boom, all of our retirement years are funded and beyond, right? Because they have plenty of cash. So those are the ways you can use these tools. You can see what's available. Click next steps. It's always going to tell you to call your advisor. That's just the way the system's automatically built. Okay? And then down here, there's always a little link, learn about retirement. Again, that's going to be pop-ups with some articles and videos if you want to watch more about retirement savings. Click up here, back to the workshop. And we can do that same type of process for insurance. Do the same type of process for college savings. You can look at other things about retirement expenses. And then there's a couple new ones here. Are you properly allocated? We talked earlier about that risk tolerance questionnaire. This is going to look at all your investment accounts, and it's going to see how you're allocated now versus how you should be according to your risk profile. Again, a little video here. Not going to try that again. But you complete a risk tolerance before you begin, and then once you've done that, it'll look at your asset allocation in relationship to your risk tolerance, and it might suggest, hey, you're overly aggressive. Your accounts are more aggressive than your risk profile suggests you should be. And all that means is your risk profile is how much risk are you willing to take for certain levels of return, right? Because everyone knows in our investments, strategically speaking, for more return, we have to be willing to accept more risk or more potential for fluctuations in our account values. That's really what we mean by risk. And so you can certainly are allowed to have more aggressive investments than your risk profile suggests, but the risk profile is kind of designed to say, here's what you, based on your answers, appear to be comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with more risk than this, then you should change your allocations accordingly. That's what this little analysis tool can do for you. Okay? Go back to the workshop. So that's really, that's how the workshop works. This is the place you go to, remember, to make some decisions and try and make changes to your retirement planning or college savings planning. I want to show you one thing. The college savings tool is actually quite cool. Again, a video, but I've already done a couple samples here. Let's go into Jimmy. And we go to Jimmy, we can pick what year he's going to be in retirement, or I'm sorry, he's going to go to college, how long he'll be in college. Some kids go a little longer. Those of you who are physicians were in college for probably more years than I can show. You can pick which university they might go to. If you don't want to pick a specific university, we can use average cost for in-state public, average cost for out-of-state public, average cost for private school. Yeah, with USC was $64,000. Average private school, $35,000. That's why it took me till just 2 years ago to finally pay off my USC debt. And then you can start your strategy. Set up your strategy, shows you how much is funded, how much you saved. Again, the yellow graph here is not working. I'll make a call on that. And you can play with the variables here and see some suggestions here. Okay? So again, a really neat tool if you're trying to kind of analyze how your planning is going on your own. And you're obviously a financial advisor ourselves or anyone else can do a lot more detail with you, but this is a really useful tool when you're trying to do some of your own decision making. Okay, so that is an overview on the whole system. I think we've covered just about everything. Go down here, the resources. So join screen sharing session. That's something you can use if we're working with you as an advisor, and we could be looking at things together. The education center, you keep seeing that, but this is the whole education center. Here's all the different categories and all the different videos, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let me pull that away. Back here. We just walked through the system. Wow, we're running long on time. I'm sorry about that. So let me tell you, like I mentioned earlier, what you get as an ACG member is free access to the system. The system is not free typically. The way it works really is we pay for it as a firm for as many clients as we have on it, and then we typically charge our clients some amount of money for their use of the system. However, as part of our agreement with ACG, we've agreed to make this available to ACG members for free. Now, I will say that there's the management of the site itself is going to have to be self-directed. You have to kind of get on there, add your accounts, add in your data and your information. It's kind of up to you. We're just giving you access. If you wanted more planning help with it, then certainly we're here to do that. If there's some basic planning you want to do, just give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to help you. If you want some real in-depth stuff, that's where we start talking about having to charge for it. But I don't think that should be something to worry about right on this call. So to get access, if you want access to the system, you have to send us your name, your phone number, and the email address that you want to be used for your login. And you email that to acgbenefits@wmsirvine.com. And then we can get you set up. You can't set yourself up, unfortunately. We have to set it up on our end, and then we'll send you an email. Your email will have a link to go in and register, answer all your questions. Let me stop real quick. I got a question here. Yes, obviously this is a great tool. It does include an incredible amount of personal information. Tell us about how this is kept secure. It looks like a treasure chest for hackers. Yes, so I will talk about that in just 1 second. We're going to go into that. Learn more section. This is just how you learn more about this benefit or any of the benefits. Is going to the website, wmsirvine.com/ACG, which is right down here, or emailing or calling us here. Okay. So let me talk about that security. That's always a question. Oh, this is the setup process. It's quick. You get an email. You set your password. Two-factor authentication. So that's part of the security question, right? There's always a two-factor authentication requirement. You have a backup recovery phone. It answers some security questions. It looks like a long process, except the terms of service. It only takes a couple minutes. So security. So here's a couple of notes on security. Okay. They use the highest security encryption available in the market today. As of the printing of this security brochure, which is actually a couple years old now, is 256-bit secure socket layer scrambling sensitive data. I don't even know what that means, but I do know that it's built to be a secure system because, like you said, this is, it's got a lot of personal information in it, right? So password protected, as we talked about, there's two-factor authentications. You pick your password, it's a secure password requirement. Now, two of the big important things is, earlier I mentioned, when you create a link between a financial institution and your accounts, you're giving the login credentials one time to create that secure connection between the institution and the website. And if they don't have an agreement with that institution, it won't be available. You can't do it. But they have them with most of them. Once that connection is made, your credentials are deleted. Then they don't keep your credentials. So if your connection breaks, you can't recover it through the system. You have to figure out your credentials on the institution's website, and then come back into the system and add them in. The other extremely important thing is this is a non-transactional portal. This system does not show you full account numbers ever. It doesn't even have them in there. It only receives the last 4 digits from the institution, and you cannot transact. All you can do is view things. So you cannot make trade, you can't sell things, you can't move money. None of that's possible in the system. It is just a tool to view things and to manage and plan. All of the transactions would still have to happen on the institution's website, your banks or wherever. So while so from that standpoint, from someone being able to hack in, the things they'd be able to see is the stuff that you put in there. If someone were able to hack into the system, they would be able to see things like your names. They would know possibly whatever you call the accounts. You get to rename them, so they don't have to be the account with the last 4 digits of the number. I would call them Jimmy's college fund. I would call them personal IRA, things like that, so that it doesn't say where they're located, and there's no account numbers. So that's all they can really see. Now, the other side of that is there's the vault. Depending on what you put in the vault, I wouldn't put account statements in the vault because that would have account numbers on it, things like that. But trusts, wills, again, there's some personal data there. Sure, is it sensitive? Does it allow them to do anything with it? I don't know that there's really much they can do because they have a copy of your will. But so that hopefully answers some of those questions. It is a very secure system, and also, so this company was bought a couple of years ago and is now owned by Fidelity. So Fidelity is the parent company. They don't sell or push Fidelity products through it or anything like that, but they are the parent company that owns the company called eMoney that provides the system. So they're the security parent, I suppose. And when you talk about a company that knows how to secure data, Fidelity is hopefully one of the good ones, right? Because they're managing billions and billions of dollars on their custodial platforms, on their 401k platforms, on their IRA platforms. So they know security very well. So they're the liable parent that owns this company. So I would imagine and hope that they're obviously taking all steps necessary to keep it as secure as possible. So it's a long answer, but I hope that helps you a little bit. And again, it just comes down to what you want to put in it. So if you don't want to put anything in there that you don't want people to see, then you don't have to if you're worried about security. There's another question here. How can you add the personal data and the practice data? Okay, that's a great question. So there are 2 options here. One is you can add both in there if you want. If you are the financial managing partner, or you're the only physician in your practice, or however you want to say, you could put all the accounts in there, name them differently, and see them separately, or see them in there, they'll be all together. And then you could, when you're looking in those investment sections, go in there real quick here. Where are we? So you're here in the investments. If you're looking at your different accounts and holdings and things like that, you could separate out which ones you're looking at, which ones you're not. Check off the box, just the ones for your practice, or just the ones for your personal stuff. The other option is create 2 logins, which we're happy to do for you. It would require 2 separate email addresses, unfortunately. So if you have a personal email address and maybe a work email address, you want to use the work one for the practice information, or if you want to set your office manager or practice manager up as one of the users on this, they could be the primary email address we use to gain access. So that would be the other way, and the way that we have a lot of clients do it is they'll set up a separate login for the business and a separate login for their personal individual stuff. Okay, hope that answers that question. Any other questions? I'm going to go back to the slides. I think we're basically done here. Yep, I'm just on Q&A now anyway, so, which we're doing. So that's it. This took longer than I thought. I'm so sorry. The walkthrough was a little bit longer than expected, but I hope that was helpful. We had a little technical difficulties with those videos too. It didn't help. But I'll hang out for another couple minutes. If there's any more questions, please let me know. Again, if you want, let me go back to the screen where if you wanted to get access to the system, here's how you do it. If you wanted to actually do some help with some planning, you'll see Brent Koch's contact information all over the site when you're on it. You're always welcome to contact him. He is the principal of our firm, though, so he is busy. He is very busy. The other option is you can email us directly, the ACG Benefits email address here, which is acgbenefits@wmsirvine.com. And one of the benefit advisors will help you with that. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us who would, one of the 5 of us would be responding to you, to any planning needs you might have. Okay, I'm not getting any more questions popping through, so if you do have something, feel free to shoot me a note. I will stay on for another minute or two on mute. But if you don't have any more questions, you feel free to have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Oh, we do have another question before I sign off here. How long has this system been around? So I was first introduced to the system about 8 years ago. I know they've been around longer. I apologize for not having a date. I should have that. But it's been a decade or more that they've been in existence. I want to say, I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess. Any idea of how many? Okay. How many clients we have on the system? Ooh, I don't know. A few hundred, I would say. Maybe a couple hundred. We don't put everybody on this. So you know, WMS as a firm is about 30 people. Not every client is on here. You know, it kind of depends on what we're doing for the client, but our higher net worth clients, our higher income clients, some with the more complex planning, go on the system. Obviously, there's a few clients that just love technology and love to track all their stuff, so they'll use the system. But we definitely don't have everybody on it. So I would say there's probably a couple hundred, if I were guessing. I apologize, I don't know that stat. So quick, this doesn't look like a question, it's a comment, but I want to say thank you. I agree. It says it looks very helpful as most of us are super busy and don't pay proper attention to all these issues. Yes, that's why one of the big reasons we thought this would be a great benefit when we were working with the ACG management, as we know that. I mean, we've got physicians that are clients, and you guys are insanely busy. And the more successful you are, the more things you get, and the busier you are. So it just becomes so difficult to track all these things, and this is one of the greatest tools we've found to do so. That's why we offer it to our clients, and we use it extensively. So it's a really neat tool. Can you access this on your phone? It's another question. I apologize. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, you can. It is not a traditional app where you go to the App Store. What you would do is you have to go into the system, and it'll tell you how to download on the app. Basically, what they've got is they've got a mobile-friendly website that you go to, and then you create a home screen button on your phone, and you've got it works just like an app. But yeah, you can access this information all on your phone. So it is mobile, and it works well on the iPad as well, or other tablet, I suppose. Go through here, make sure I got all these questions hopefully answered. Yes. Okay. Looks like I answered everything. If there's anything else, let me know. If not, if you think we've got everything, then have a great night. I will hang out for another minute or two here in case any more questions pop up in your mind. Again, we've been recording, so we'll post the recorded webinar on the website, and the email, you'll have the follow-up email next day or two, and that will say, give you a link to that website. And I'll try and make sure we get the links to those videos that didn't work in there as well. All right. Thank you very much, and have a great night.